In this video, we are going to go over updating and flashing your SniB firmware and your CCM firmware. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to download the SniB and the CCM firmware. You can get that from identiv.com through their partner portal. Once you download it, you can just download it to anywhere on your computer. I actually have a folder on my desktop called CCM and SniB. So I've already downloaded a couple of CCM versions. I've downloaded 8.0 and 8.2, 8.2 being the latest and greatest. I have a SniB2, so the latest and greatest for the SniB2 is 652, and I'm only going to be showing you how to import this and download it for the sake of the video so that we can run through it and you know how to do it. Otherwise, my panel is already updated to 652. Download the files, the CCM files, you can see them here, and the SniB files into your computer. We need to open up Velocity, and we're going to go to the Identif button in the upper left. Click, and then go to Data Exchange. And you can see we have CCM important, SniB2 import, SniB3 import, TS reader import if you're going to flash update the readers. So we'll start with the CCM import. I'm going to click on that. This is the wizard. Just go ahead and follow through. Next, it's going to ask, where is the CCM file that you want to use? So I have it in my desktop in this folder, and I'm just going to import this one. I could go 8.2 and update it all the way, but I'm going to save that for another video someday. So say open, next, next, finish. Okay, so I have just imported my CCM firmware. I have not updated the CCM yet, though. I'm going to go back to Data Exchange. I'm going to go to SniB2 import. Next, find the SniB2 firmware that you want. And now all of my firmwares are imported. Okay, so now that I have my firmware imported, now we're going to get down to actually flashing the CCM and the SniB. And where we go for that is you go to the panel. So we'll take this step by step through. Go into Digitrack configuration, XNet, go to your port. Expand that, expand the Xbox until you get to your panel. Once you get to your panel, you're going to right-click, and you're going to go to Properties. Once Properties opens up, it tells you your CCM firmware, where it's currently at, and your SniB2 firmware, what it's currently at. So we look in here, and our CCM firmware is at 7.6.20, and our SniB2 firmware is at 6.52. So we'll start with our SniB. Click on Update SniB. This is not for setups. You will need to download new firmware to the SniB2. Would you like to proceed with the update? Yes. And then right up here, it gives me my firmware. As you can see, it's the only one that I have in there. So I would just say download, and then it would go through and it would download. It takes just a couple of minutes because I am literally plugged right into this panel. I think it would take about 3 minutes. Out in the field on a network, I've seen it take as long as 12 minutes in order to download. So we'll pretend that we downloaded it and everything went well, and voila, it's now at 6.52. Now we're going to do an update of our CCM firmware, and this one you're going to follow along with me. Okay, it gives us the warning. This is not for setups. Use only to download new CCM new firmware to the CCM. Do not interrupt this process or stop any services while the update is in progress, as this may make the CCM unusable. Yes, if you break communication to the panel while it's updating, your CCM becomes a hockey puck, and you now have a boat anchor for a panel. So you don't want to interrupt the communications. Would you like to proceed to the Update CCM Firmware dialog? Yes, I would. And again, you can see it has the old firmware in here, and it has the new firmware that I just imported in earlier. I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to click download. Now, you see here, it says CCM firmware download in progress. Okay, so this is going to take a little while. I'll keep track of how long it takes. You can see that my clock here says that it is 2:02 p.m. So we'll see how long this takes. I'll be back. Okay, and as you can see, it says that my controller has logged off. My controller is offline at ASI demo. So that means that the controller is rebooting itself. The flash actually goes to the SNIB, and it stays on the SNIB, and then the SNIB knocks the panel offline so that it can communicate directly to the panel and does the flash. Once flash is done, the panel will come back online. And as I said, the controller has come back online, and all our information is coming through. So there we are. Now, we'll go ahead and right-click on our controller and go to Properties. And as you can see, my CCM is now updated to 8.0. It's as easy as that, folks. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you can keep checking in on other updates and tech tips. And make sure that you push the like button right off a tall cliff.